Yes, I messed that one up playing. Welcome everybody to our live broadcast. It is 6:35, so I'm getting a few minutes late because I was playing music in the background, and so now it wants to give me a hard time about going live at the moment because I was playing music and getting myself wound up. So now I'll just wait again to try to see if everybody gets the feed and the connection again, and we'll see what happens, see if we can get this thing open on the show. But while we're waiting, and because it's our here you go, cat. Now we might be going somewhere. I turned the music totally down and off. Thing is turned off on the music side, and it says you're adding. It says sent request. I'm just looking up there. It says adding. Oh, let's see here. See if it's giving me. It's saying decline, Karen. I don't know what you're doing there or what I'm doing, but it keeps saying declined. So we're going to start this over again until we can get a couple women on here. I don't know what's going on with my thing here, but in this day and world, what I was saying is we got to have a little talk about what is a woman, I guess. And hey guys, hey, hey, lay down, lay down, lay down, go over and lay down now. No, I'm sorry, my dogs are starting to act up. Everything is just going haywire on me today. And we're trying to find Karen again. Let's see where she at. I'm going to send an ad to you, Karen. It says adding. But anyway, I'm trying to, Karen. I'm trying to. It keeps saying decline. It just keeps saying declined on your end. I don't know why. Hey, Caitlin. And Elaine's there. I see her. And I see your request, Karen. I'm hitting accept again, and I'm hitting add. It says adding, but then it doesn't want to add you on here. And I'm not sure why it is acting up today. It all started when I was playing that music. It keeps saying decline, Karen. I don't know why. Does anybody else want to try to add on to come on here right quick to see if it's me? But it keeps saying decline for Karen. I'm not sure why. And who else is on here? Lane's on there. We got a few people on here. I know Gina's always like, no, no, no. She's a chicken. Let me try to invite you again. It says adding, and I see, is that Marlena? But I don't know why, Karen. It keeps saying declined. I'm trying to I was hoping somebody else would try to see if it's on my end to see if because a while ago it did something to me, like I said, because I was playing music, and they got this copyright thing going on, right? Add, and it keeps saying adding, but I don't know if it's me declining. I'm adding, but it automatically just said decline right real fast that time on you, Karen. I'm not sure if it's you or me. I've tried like 4 5 times, with 6 times maybe, Karen. So anyway, until we get someone that actually can get on here, um, that it will. And my dogs are now wanting to start to act up. Go lay down. My daughter has just left today to go live with her boyfriend up in Iowa. Okay, Karen, I see that. Because I was sending you one and it kept saying you declined it. So, but you can go ahead and send me a request if you want to, and I'll see it when it pops up. I'm running a little late today. All right, I see your request. And then I'm going to hit accept. And then I hit add. And it says adding. thing. Yeah, I know. I see it there. I see your icon up there with your name on it, and it says adding, 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 but it's not bringing you on to the it's not bringing you onto the video feed, and I don't know if that's just me or what's going on. We're having few little technical issues right here. I tested it earlier today, and we were doing just fine, but and I changed a few settings, but it's just saying adding, adding on yours. It's uh-oh. Did something happen there? It looks like Karen just totally relogged off and probably trying to relog back in. But in today's world, as I was saying, we're talking about what is a woman. And so I guess I'm going to have to carry this here a little bit by myself till I can get someone to talk to. And I should have experience at talking to myself. I probably do enough of it as it is. So, uh, and I see, are you back on there? I see Denise has just popped on. And so trying to get our technical issues here. I was messing up earlier because you can add you, Janet. All right. Hey, we can try Janet and see if it's me or something. And let's try to invite Janet and see if it's me, because if it's me, then it's adding, and I'm not sure. And then we got another, all right. And I'm trying to, now it won't even let me even hit the accept button for Karen. So I guess it may be me. Wow. Had no trouble earlier today. And then all of a sudden, we're like, it's not letting me add nobody. And I'm not sure why. I started messing around with the settings. And so you guys can leave me. Yeah, and I'm wired up. She said, okay. Why are you wired up, Nisi? Hi, Sharon. Hey, Virgil. I guess they don't. I guess they don't want us to tell anybody. It's the Russians. Okay, you're right. We're being hacked here, I guess. Says go out of Facebook totally and back in. Hello, Sharon. So, yeah, because right now what it's doing is it's just giving me, it's just giving me, I could see the icon up there. It keeps saying adding, adding. Right now it's saying adding, but it's not bringing you on, and I'm not sure why, because we had no problem with this earlier. It just keeps saying decline for you, and I'm waiting to see if, let me see if Denise, if it does you, Denise, it's going to be me, and I'm going to have to, like she said, I'm going to have to reboot my whole thing. No, it's not, because it brought Nisi right on.
Hey there.
So it's not me. Hey, Nisi. Hey, Karen, it's not me, because I just added somebody, and it keeps saying you're declining. Or I don't know if it's you hitting something or if it's your connections. It gives me no buttons to accept. She says, okay. And Janet says we can still have the conversation. And I couldn't bring Janet on, so I'm not sure why it's not letting me bring Karen on. So we're having some issues with Karen's in. So right now we'll just have this conversation with Nisi for just a little bit, I guess. And I kind of got messed up because, you know, when you do a live feed, it picks up that you are playing music in the background if you are, and it will block you out and shut you down. What's that?
I should have told you that earlier. That's my fault. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I had it down, you know, in the background, but I turned it up a little bit. I was kind of, let me see there. There's another one there.
Yeah.
Try this one.
Facebook's a little bit itchy.
Let's see if And here's another. Here we got Sharon trying to come on. All right, Karen. But anyway, so in today's world, I mean, we're talking about what is a woman, and there's another guy that does I don't know if you guys seen it, where he's talking about what is a woman, because there's apparently in the world today we have a lot of issues. Well, I don't want to say issues, if you want to call it an issue or not, but women don't know if they're women or not, I guess, and 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 stuff. I mean, you would, yeah, you would think that is a funny thing,
Yeah,
right?
well, I'm
But
trying to be nice about that.
and we got some guys that are wanting to try to be women. Go lay down now. My dog is wanting to. She hears me talking and she thinks that lay down, that I'm talking to her because she can't hear
Well,
nobody else or what she's
you
trying to
had
figure.
that issue earlier.
Yeah, I know. And she keeps thinking it. Lay down, Missy. Lay down. I'm not talking to you. Lay down.
Maybe she's
And then she
identifying
thinks
as a guy.
I
Maybe
don't
she's
know.
as a guy. Maybe you need to call her Mitchell or Michael or something.
Right. Lay down. Go. But she thinks she's hearing me, and so, but you'd think in this world we would kind of know the difference between a man and a woman, and apparently we have some confusion there. So, and biologically, I mean, I was listening to a thing earlier where it was talking about this psychologist, or she was a pediatrician actually, and she's prescribing children drugs during when they get ready to go into puberty, that will stop them from going into puberty, so that they, like, and it has to be with them identifying themselves. And she kind of disagreed with the thought that when we are born into this world, and you guys got to realize I'm using techno, I'm not being, that if you have a penis, you are not automatically considered a male, she said. Or if you had, the woman parts, that you're not considered a female. And I'm just like, how is this possible that we got to this point in this world where we have adults that are progressing this agenda? Now, I don't know about the psychological part. We could get into the Bud Light thing, where Budweiser, Anheuser-Busch did this with that Devaney thing, and I just don't I just don't understand how we got to this point, that people are so confused in their mind, you know, that they don't know if they're a male or a
Well,
female.
to me,
And
this goes back to the parents, because these days and now, instead of like back when me and you and a few more that's on here, when we were being raised up, we knew what we were.
well,
We
I
knew.
mean, how would you not know? Is
Yeah,
what I
I
that's
mean,
what I'm.
God created you and formed you into your mother's womb, and He put you there the way you were supposed to be. So you're not going to come out Jane and then decide, oh, okay, puberty's hit me, so my name's not going to be Jane no more. It's going to be Sam or Tom or Mike or whatever. No, that don't work. That's when the parent needs to step in and say, hold on. Nope. We need to sit down and we need to
Well,
have a nice long talk.
I
And
mean,
this is how it is. You were born, whatever your name that your parents give you, because, and parents these days are so afraid of taking a flip flop. or a belt. Oh, I'll go to jail for child abuse. Well, excuse me. There's different forms of abuse. And you letting your child think she's come out a Janie and you want to let her think that she's a Jimmy? That's a form of abuse. That's a form of
Well,
abuse. I'm sorry. I came out
so how did,
Denise. I didn't come out no Don.
yeah. Well,
Some
I mean,
people,
how did this all, how's this getting started? Is it getting started in the schools? Is it getting started in Hollywood? I mean,
I,
I
I think,
don't
I
understand.
think it's
Maybe I'm
outright
just old
society.
school.
I think it's
Maybe
outright society.
I'm old
I
fashioned.
think society has gotten away from, and I'm not by no means living the way that I should be, but I was raised up the right way. I was raised up King James Version Bible. Right is right and wrong is
Right.
wrong. And
Now,
I,
at any point during this conversation today, if we get any men on here that think they are a woman, please, I mean, we'll light you on, and I won't try, and I won't make fun of you. I'm trying to understand why a person would think that. I mean, I mean, I've heard of people saying things like, "Well, you have a female spirit." You know, I don't know if you ever heard of a man being told that, but that doesn't make you a woman, you know?
Lisa, and I have told
So,
few of my guy friends, you have found your female side, haven't you? That don't mean I'm calling you, oh, you should identify as something else. But I think that the world has turned too far away from the Bible. And I'm not
right.
saying that it's too late, but sit down and read your Bible. I mean, literally read it. I mean, come on. Uh,
Yeah, Dwayne says the government, and so why would the government be pushing this agenda? I mean, I don't get this as far as like why would anybody be pushing this agenda,
mm,
and why are we creating the mass confusion, which it shouldn't be no confusion whatsoever, but apparently we are having this issue now.
I don't think the government has anything to do with it. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not knocking nobody's opinion. Don't get me wrong. I'm not
But
doing that. But because what are they going to get out of it? I mean,
well, I don't. No, because the government does a lot of things, and I don't trust them at all anyway. So
no,
I'm not sure.
a lot of
Somebody is behind it. I
stupid
mean, I
stuff.
think,
But,
and
I mean,
we're educating kids in school today, and most people know that I disagreed with the way the schools taught, and I homeschooled my children for just about all their lives. There was periods where I didn't just periodically,
yeah,
but I just did not like the way the schools um, educated and the thoughts and the way they teach children to think, to me, was contradictory to the way I wanted my children. And and you got to realize the schools are the government, so you got to be careful. The government's kind of broad. I'm not talking about just the White House, or the government includes our schools. Okay, you said send request again, Karen. I'm gonna try, baby girl. Let's see here.
but I think if a
I just
lot of parents, I think if a lot of parents would set their kids down, and I don't mean browbeat the information into their heads, talk to them in a way that they need to be talked to. The screaming, the yelling, that crap don't cut it. I mean, it don't. But
yeah,
talk to them and tell them, say, listen, this is not how it was meant to be. If it would have been meant for you to be a boy, then God would have put you on this earth to be of the male gender. You're not going to come out like I said, a Jane, and whenever you decide you're going to identify as a Jim. No,
right,
that's not how it works. Could you
right.
imagine what my mom and dad would have done to me?
Yeah, I can't imagine. I come home one day and just like, and I tell my parents like, well, I just found out, you know, I'm not a male, I'm a woman today or something like that. And I just can't imagine. Go lay down. My dog keeps thinking I'm talking to her. Go lay down. She can't hear nobody else because I got my headphones on and I'm gonna throw my boot at her. Lay down.
You better be careful.
Stop.
You better be
I'm
careful.
gonna
Facebook
no.
will slap something on you for abuse of an animal.
Well, that's another subject I'll get into later, but no, she's sitting over there wagging her tail. Her ears are popped up and she's just staring at me, just thinking I'm totally talking to her. And she thinks I'm trying to play with her. But I don't know. So let's get a little bit deeper into what a woman is, getting a little bit past the gender part of this and why men think that they are women, and um because that's something I totally, if anybody wants to elaborate on that, feel free to. We can always we could jump around on the subjects a little bit. And Karen, I'm adding you again. I see you keep sending the requests, but it is not adding you for some reason. You didn't have no problem, Nisi, did you, when you come on?
No. Well, I did
No,
there for
I
a second, and then it might have been just a glitch in Facebook, but of course, Facebook is built on glitches. So
it keeps saying Karen's declined. Not sure why, but and it just did it again. So we'll have to kind of move on a little bit until we can maybe see what her issue is. Maybe she can get it figured out a little bit or something. Hey, Whitney, how you doing?
I know. Yesterday on your live that you did that I didn't get to because I had things I had to do, and there was somebody talking about, oh, women are out for this. Listen, not all women are out for this right here. I don't care if a man's got money or if he doesn't. If he's
Right.
good to me and he treats me right, I don't care if our first date is at McDonald's and we're sitting in the parking lot and he can't afford but 2 burgers and an order of fries and 2 drinks. That's fine with me. It's not
Yeah.
about what he's got. It's about how he can treat you. If you can be there for one another and each one not be selfish and self-centered, then I think if you can meet in the middle, talk about your problems, and not butt heads on every. I'm not going to say there's never a perfect relationship. First of all, let's just throw that out there. I'm going to throw myself under the bus because usually every time I say that on Facebook, there's going to be one person, oh, mine was bull. Bull.
No, I understand. And that's a good point, but I'm trying to figure out, like, what makes a woman, like, let's get by the male thing and trying to be a woman in sports and all this, because I am totally against men competing in women's sports or competing against women, period. And I don't get all this. I mean, I don't get all this bull crap. I just don't even know how we even got to the point where we're even somewhat accepting it. And if you because that's not fair to the women out there to have a man competing against them and stuff like that. I mean, I think we all should be able to agree on that. If anybody disagrees or if anybody wants to come on the video feed to give their input, except I guess Karen's, because I can't add her. She's been trying to get on and I can't get her. But if anybody else wants to come on and talk on the video feed, feel free to send a request and I'll try to add you. But let's talk about, like, when a woman, like, okay, so you go through the puberty area of when you are turning from a girl. Now, and I'm the wrong person because I don't know about this, so that's the reason I'm having this kind of discussion too. Is like, and only women can answer this, and I can't pretend like I can answer for the women. So that's the reason I wanted to add some more women on here.
Ladies, I got.
But when you go, so yeah, right now you're holding down the fort until we can get another woman or two on here to kind of communicate.
I can't be different.
Yeah, I know, and I would like to have some different opinions on it. But so let's go back to the beginning when you're a girl and you know you're a girl, and we're boys and girls in say elementary school, and we're looked at as children. None of us has reached puberty yet, but then there comes a certain time where um we start reaching puberty, whether it's somewhere between I suppose like between the fifth and seventh grade areas or somewhere in there, and everybody's is different. But when you're a girl and you start going through these changes in life, if you will, puberty, um, and you know, what is it like for let's start identifying the issues or the things that girls go through when they start. We'll start there at the beginning. When girls start to become women, and because what I mean, like what kind of emotions and what kind of feelings, and do they understand that they're not they're not like the guys, you know? I mean, I already know that they already know by the time they get fifth grade, before puberty, there's differences. But then they start going through these things where they start experiencing it, and we're going to go even deeper into this as we go along. But well, let's start from the beginning. So, Nisi, can you remember back, if your memory is, if you're still young enough to remember back when you was a girl and you started going through these changes in life, when your breast started developing and you started noticing all these differences in yourself, what's that like for a woman to start going into that and start developing to becoming a woman?
For me, I guess it was probably different than most others because I was, everywhere we lived, there were not very many girls around to, play dolls with and all this other stuff that girls done. Uh, it was kind of weird because here you are, you're developing in ways that guys are not, and you're going through things that guys are not and cannot go through. And, your mom's like handing you your first training bra, and you're thinking, what in the world? And I was just like, okay, for me, it was slap it on, get out there and play you some two-hand touch with the guys. That was it. I mean,
Right.
I was totally, I guess I was different than everybody else. That it didn't really phase me, that part. It was just the other female stuff that you go through that uh I'm gonna keep it PG here.
Yeah.
Uh that, like I said, that women go through or girls go through that guys can't. That was when it kind of got like, okay, I back off. I'm not doing the two-hand touch deal. I don't feel like it. Touch me and I'll claw your eyes out. Look at me wrong and I'm going to throat punch you. Because things like that happen. It can get emotional. It can get, and I'm not going to say it's stressful or nothing. It's just your emotions run high at times.
Right.
And I've got a bunch, Monica and Shonda, on here. Girls, speak up, say something. If you got a question or you got something to say it. But it was, to me, it was, I just adjusted myself and I didn't identify anything differently because I knew better. But I knew my boundaries to where when I started becoming a young lady, well, I'm not going to do the two-hand touch. I'm not doing the whole football thing or anything like that. It's just something that I ain't going to do. But
Have we got any I would like to, if we had any girls that went, because I know growing up as a kid in school, we had some girls that were, if you want to use the word, tomboys, and they wanted to compete with the boys and do all the things that the boys were doing. And then you had some girls that were the Miss Prissy types, and don't take no offense, girls, because the guys like the Miss Prissy types too, okay?
hey, Billy,
And
I got to run. Mom's hollering at me.
okay, So I guess I'm kind of stuck here until we can get another woman on here. And I hate carrying the conversation on by myself as a man, trying to describe and get feedback on what women, or try to, or what the things they go through, not just in the childhood stages, but like you know, what makes them know they're a woman, and what makes them feel, how do they describe themselves as a woman? What makes them like uh, start being attracted to boys, and just going through that whole that whole physical change in their bodies. And then as they become women, um, seeking relationships and stuff like that as they go on. And some women don't. Some women tend to try to be more masculine. And so there's a lot of different descriptions of where we can go with this, or what is a woman. So, and everybody might have their own ideal when it gets to like different attitudes of where they're a woman. And I feel so lost trying to talk about this subject on my own, that and so I'm going to try to read some comments here to kind of alleviate, because I don't know where I would be going with it. And you say you can't hear nothing now, Kathy? Let me see if I got my thing here on. I know I see that, Donald. Janet, what's on? I'm trying, and let's see. Okay, well, let's see if maybe it's this. I don't know. I added Nisi. Okay, and I'm trying to add you right there. But somebody says is my audio working? Can someone comment? You can't hear me? I can hear you well. Okay, Crystal, you can hear me. And Brenda says she can hear me. Okay. And for some reason, I'm having trouble adding people. Here we go. We got somebody adding on right now.
Hey, can you hear me? It's Janet.
Yeah, I can hear you, Janet.
Hey.
But unfortunately, I can't see your video. I don't know why, but at least we got you on the line.
No, I'm just on audio only because that's the only way we could get it to work.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not sure what's going on. Can everybody hear Janet there? Is it some waiting? Yeah, Kathy, I guess it's just you too. So you must be a different type of woman, Kathy. So we'd like to. I'm just kidding. So and Brenda and okay, they can hear you. They can hear you, Janet.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No, so what I was talking to Nisi about, and she had to run. So going back to when you was a girl and you started becoming, going through those stages. Like, can you tell us, like, do you remember what that was like?
Oh my gosh, I can tell you exactly what it was like. I went to church on a lovely Sunday morning. I was 10 years old, 10 and a half maybe. Went to the bathroom and it was all over. And I had one of the church ladies help me get my maxi pad on. And I got home to my mother, who was sipping a cup of coffee, smoking a cigarette. And she said, well, I guess you're going to have to stay away from them boys now. and after that, of course, that's all I wanted to do. All I wanted to do was be around those boys. And that was me. And unfortunately, I have to disagree because I was in school with two kids. They were actually brother and sister, and they were twins. And they literally both ended up gay. I mean, one thought he was a girl, and the girl thought she was a guy. It was the weirdest thing ever. And this is back in the early 70s. And
wow.
nobody knew what that meant. We just knew they were different, and we accepted it for what it was and went on with it. And then as adults, they did their thing, and they've never separated. They've always been, lived together for their whole lives, and I know that, but they were gay. I mean,
That's what.
but
Yeah. And
I know, but I'm just saying, and
well,
I literally just had this conversation with one of my really close friends, and he's gay, and we were talking about this whole, I think I'm a guy, I think I'm going to change, and most of those people end up regretting it, and the parents that allow them, I think, are more abusive than the parents that say, no, 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 let's sit down and have a conversation. Your name is Susie, not Sam. But at the same time, throwing the Holy Bible at them is not the answer either. So that's.
yeah. Okay. So, and I've noticed this, and I don't want to put too many people off on this, and I have noticed it. Most people that know, you know, I'm very much an herbalist and things, and study plants and stuff like that. But I've also noticed this in the plant world, where we have things that abnormally happen in some plants that they don't they don't come up the same way physically
No, they
as
don't.
other plants. There will be some kind of abnormality about that,
Yep.
and I'm not an animal expert, but I'm sure. Let me see
Well,
here. We got somebody else that's trying.
there's homosexual primates.
Right,
Like you can go to the Cincinnati Zoo and witness it on a daily basis. My
right,
son was, you stand there and stare, and you're like, oh my God. But it's a
right.
true story. I mean, it is in every level of humanity. And it doesn't mean it's right or wrong. I'm not judging. I'm just saying
No, I'm
it's a.
not neither. I'm just trying to understand, and so we can kind of get a grasp on it. I know in the 1970s we had an Olympic gold medalist, Bruce Jenner, and that most people are very well aware of. And I mean, here's this guy. He's not just a gold medalist, but he was like a super gold medalist. Won so many gold medals.
I know.
Was a man of men.
He was on. He
And
was
now he's
on
not
the
Bruce
Ladies
Jenner no
Club.
more.
Yeah, well, I don't even understand that. I mean, I don't know if it was for money or whatever. I don't know. And I don't think he's
No,
gone. I don't think he's gone through the full change. Um,
mhm.
it's like my friend Johnny says, unless they go through the full change. And he says, even if they go through the full change, it's not a vagina. And if it's a woman, it's not a penis. So get over it. You're not a man. You're not a woman. You still are a man, and you're still a woman. You just had surgery. End of story. And the
Yeah,
system, I mean, I'm sorry. That's how I feel about it. You're born,
right.
you know, and there are abnormalities that people are born with. I mean, there's women that, are born and they have testicles, or there's you have ever heard of the men that have tails? Literally they have a tail and a penis.
No,
they
no.
there are, and there's men that they really never feel like.
Well, I know I think it was about 2 years ago, and I was in a terminal. It was in a terminal in Chicago, in the city, and it was getting late at night. It was probably around 10 o'clock at night, and another truck driver came in, and and I was doing a laundry at our terminal. It was kind of late, and my daughter was with me. And but this person, I started having a conversation with them, and I don't know what possessed the conversation to get, how it got there or why they wanted to talk about it, but apparently I seem to be the type of person that people can talk to, and they started telling me that they were born with both. Have you
Yeah,
ever heard of that?
it's I can't remember the term.
I
Um,
I can't
they're
either.
born they are born with both.
Wow.
And it's just, and some, they will, once they hit a certain age, usually around puberty, they will opt to do whatever surgery to remove one or the other based on how their hormones are. And that's really all about genetics and hormones. So
Yeah,
it's a
yeah, and
real thing.
they was telling me that they were happen to they were being they were telling me that their lifespan, the doctors had told them that they wouldn't live like only like a half a
Yeah, but
lifespan,
that's not
and that
true.
they were having to go through so many surgeries and take so much, all this different types of medication. And I'm sitting there, and you got to realize we're talking about being in Chicago, and I'm already like thinking Chicago as a place that I really don't want to be most of the time,
Right.
and for whatever reasons. But then I'm sitting here and it's getting to be about 11 o'clock, 11:30, and I'm like, oh, what's taking my wash so long? And but they're having this conversation with me, and they're telling me, and we're the only ones in there. Now I'm really thinking, okay, I don't even know what to expect next. I mean, so I'm starting to get, and it makes me it made me somewhat uncomfortable. I'm trying to be understanding and I'm trying to listen, but I just don't know where this is going, right? So, and I mean, it was all harmless and everything. They seemed like a very good person and stuff, and they seemed very smart, and they did. And I really, and as they told me this, you can't help it. You start like looking, okay? you know,
Well, I
you start
mean,
looking like,
you're crotch
are you?
watching. And
Yeah, well,
you are.
you start. Well, you're just like, do they have? I'm trying to decide. If I looked at this person, would I be able to tell if they was a male or a female?
Mm,
And I
you
couldn't. I could not because I couldn't tell. And it wasn't that they wasn't unattractive, or it's because they wasn't. But I mean, I'm not going to say they was attractive, but they wasn't.
Yeah,
They just
they're just your normal.
it was almost like they was a robot. It was like it's just like you couldn't tell. And
Yeah.
um and then I'm trying to look for the Adam's apple, right? So I mean, I just caught myself doing all this stuff, and I'm like, do they have an Adam's apple? And without trying to stare, and and so so I'm getting to the point. So let's get back to where, and I appreciate you joining me, Janet. And I know Don's been there a lot of times on my Facebook, and he kind of, I know we've been on friends for a while on Facebook. And I try to be honest, and I try to be fair with everybody, and I don't look at anybody, I don't look at myself as better than anybody or
No,
worse,
I
but
don't. Well, when you're
I'm
trying
trying to
to,
understand the sociology
I
behind
get
it.
it, and like I said, I go to the source. Like I said, I have like one of my best friends has been in a homosexual male relationship for 37 years, I think.
Hmm.
And he is, he's always known that that's what he was attracted to. And do you think for 1 minute that he understands what all this is all about now? He doesn't. He doesn't get
Right,
it either.
right.
He's just like,
Well, so let me add, since you brought it up, you never know where these conversations are going to go to. So does a person that identifies as gay or lesbian,
if
so if they're a woman and they identify as a lesbian, but then you have lesbian women who take on the
I
male role, but then you have
exactly, and
lesbian
that's
women that takes on the female role.
we don't, none of us understand that. I don't get
Yeah.
it. So
So
for
I
me,
mean, how can you be I mean, and same way with gay men, it's sort of like, one takes on a passive role and one takes on a masculine role. So why? I mean,
but if they're,
why would, well,
yeah, I know, I get it. Like I said, we talked about this just literally the other day, and
right.
we don't get it. I mean, but you know, It's not.
Well, I mean, if I had someone that was gay or lesbian, maybe they could speak to, some of this. And I'm not trying, go lay down, dog. My dog is really aggravating me. And I'm just trying to understand, and we're trying to find out. And I wanted to go through the stages of, all right, you're a woman, right? Should I assume that by your voice and by what Don
No,
says that you're his wife?
apparently we're not supposed to do that anymore. So
So I'm not supposed to assume that you're a woman, right?
you're not supposed to assume that. I mean, that's literally. I work for a man.
Okay, so take away the assumption. Could I ask you, are you a woman?
Oh. I'm definitely a woman.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify. I don't know. I mean, I don't. I wasn't trying to get into Don's love life.
Oh, he's
here.
a little freak. He's a little freaky, but that's okay.
Okay.
Hey now.
I mean, I didn't want to make this show about anybody's love life and their sexual, but sometimes Don says things I kind of look at too, but that's another story. I'm just playing, Don. I'm just playing. Okay. But now I didn't want to assume Don was a man. No, so Don is a man, right?
That part I'm not sure. I'm really not sure.
Oh. So does he have a
he does
he have a feminine soul?
He's anatomically correct.
Anybody else want to join this conversation before we get ourselves into trouble here? I mean, seriously. If you do, just hit the join the video broadcast, if you will, and I'll see if I can accept you. Except I guess Karen can't join, but I don't know why. So you went through the stage as a girl. We go back to there before we got going on this little trip down crazy
train.
Whatever. I don't want to say that because then I'm like putting people down, and I don't want to do that. I get confused, and if I'm getting confused, it is not society getting confused, and are they not confused? I mean, so.
Well, and here again, I mean, I think a lot of this is our children who get caught up. I mean, I have a niece that she was fine. She did a few things that her parents didn't agree with, and now, she's given them nothing but trouble. And I'm talking drugs and the whole 9 yards. And anyway, long story short, I just think that they're influenced by things, and they think it's okay to be influenced by things, and so they can use it as an out. To not
good one, Congress.
And to just use it as an out to be over the top and crazy and not have to be responsible. And whether they say it's because I feel like I'm a man or I feel like I'm a woman or whatever, they're entitled and they can be whoever they want to be. And we've allowed that. So it's not to say that it's right or wrong. I'm not judging. I'm just saying, I'm a parent. I have a son, but, I did the best I could do. I homeschooled him, just like you said. And, and he's married. And
Stop, Misty.
I have 2 really wonderful grandchildren that I haven't seen in 4 years because my son decided that he was done with me after my husband died. So,
right.
So, but anyway, going back to being a little girl and the changes in life, well, I was a little girl. I got on a bus driving down to Pikeville to go for spring break in my cousin's house in Pikeville. And I get on the bus, and this old man sat next to me, and he decided he thought it was necessary to stick his tongue down his throat. But
yeah. Let me make my dog lay down. Lay down! Stop it. My dog just thinks I'm totally playing with her now, so I'm sorry.
No.
Well, okay, so
So I mean, that's what we girls go through, and I don't know what boys go through, and I don't know what happens in the gym room or whatever, like in
Locker room.
locker room. Yeah, I don't know what happens when
You
they're.
most of you don't want to know.
That's what Don just said. You don't want to know.
You don't want to know.
Yeah, I'm.
It's I mean, it's so full of testosterone
Yeah.
that that go lay down now. My dog is really just totally being.
I'll just.
She's wanting to play, and so okay, so now you go through that. So when did you start liking, like, as yourself? When did you start, like, um being attracted to males, so like boys, other boys? Do you remember the first time you really started getting attracted to males?
5 years old, honestly.
5 years old? Oh gosh.
I was just always, I loved the little boys. I always did, and I ain't lying about it. Always had.
First cousin was David.
You did.
No, really.
Well, okay, let me ask you another question then. All right, you started getting attracted to boys. Have you ever been attracted to women?
You know what? I can tell you
Oh,
this. I really wanted to go on this subject.
yeah, okay.
I had a very best friend. Her name was Lori, and she was either at my house or I was at her house. We were the best friends. We had our hair the same. We wore matching clothes, jewelry, the whole 9 yards, and we were, we had never been kissed. So, you're just like talking about it, you're giggling about it. It's like, hey, what are you talking? Have you ever been kissed? No, I've never been kissed. Oh, well, do you want to be kissed? Do you want to practice? And you practice.
Oh my goodness.
So,
All the guys out here are going crazy right now, okay? All the guys are going out here crazy, and they can say whatever they want to. Y'all go lay down now. Go lay down. And no, so okay, so now we're talking about that. So guys kind of like that kind of thing when two women find themselves attracted, and they can say whatever they want to. Okay, so but why now? Does women find two guys together attractive?
Ew, no. I mean, no. Well, no.
So now we got stereotypes, right? Where, I mean, is that stereotyping, or why does a man find that it's okay for two women to be together?
Why? Explain that to me. I don't know.
What's that?
I don't know the answer to that. I wish I did.
Oh, okay. Does any guys want to answer that on comments, or want to come in? And I bet you we have no volunteers for that one for sure.
You'll never have a guy answer that question.
What? Have they ever built
Yeah.
No, the two.
Right. What about, okay, so Don's there. We got two of you there, so let's ask Don.
Oh crap.
Have you ever been attracted to a guy, Don?
No, never. Never.
Okay. Oh, he speaks up even louder on that question, so okay. You sounded almost defensive there, Don.
Oh, there you go.
Like, but you can appreciate a nice looking man, well dressed. You know what I'm saying?
He'd
Right.
He'd absolutely.
So only about 15 seconds into this conversation, he's starting to give in already a little bit, right?
Yeah. So are you calling him out?
He needs to be apologized.
You calling him
I'm sorry. No, I'm just messing with him, right? He seems to be a nice guy and he's having fun. I could hear him back there laughing, so I figured it was What about you, Johnny? Are you on there? You attracted to guys, Johnny, on the internet? I'm trying to read some of the people that's on there. But okay, so now we're gonna take it. So you very well kind of did you kiss the girl?
Yeah, we kissed, we touched tongues, and then we giggled and rolled over and went to sleep. That's it. That's all we did.
Oh.
And then we got up and listened to H. Freely and got our jeans dried and fixed our hair and went to school. That's what we did.
No, go lay down.
Oh my gosh, bring me over here.
She's just crazy, going crazy. Go lay down. Where's my I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get my spray bottle out and I'm gonna spray you. So, all right, so you went through that. Dawn, did you say you never had that experience before?
No, he not no.
You never you, you never kissed a guy?
He,
Oh God.
I'm sorry, I'm having fun with Dawn right now. I can't help it. You kind of opened up the door. So, I mean, and you don't have to give me much to really go crazy with it.
no,
So, all right.
no, he
Uh,
not. No, he,
he's probably rolling over on the floor right now, right?
it's like he's kind of a target, you know. And so and the funny part was my late husband was a Vietnam
No.
vet. He was like he got all these whatever you call them, awards and medals and this and that, and he re into the National Guard when in his 40s, and so he went to camp. Or they do 2 weeks at summer camp or whatever, and he went to. They didn't know. They were trying to go to a restaurant, but it ended up being a gay bar, and they had no idea. And they're in their fatigues, and they're all looking. And my husband got everything
So
for.
Don has, what you're talking about Don here? Are you
No,
talking about Don?
my late husband. My late husband.
Oh, your late
Yeah.
husband. I thought you was telling us Don was in a gay bar.
No,
Okay, go ahead.
no, he has been. He's with his friend. He ain't ashamed.
Okay, I mean, you know. So you're saying Don is totally masculine. He doesn't like, I mean, he doesn't shave his legs or nothing like that, right?
well, I mean, no, he doesn't shave his legs yet.
Okay.
I'm
We're having
joking.
fun, guys. We're having fun, guys. Okay, we're sorry. We're getting back to the woman part. We'll get off that crazy escapade that we were just running down. And I appreciate you joining. I appreciate you being a good sport about all this. Um, so okay, so now you go through that stages. All right. So we're talking about what is a woman, and so women that are women. How do they identify their self-worth as a woman? Let's go there for a little bit. So we're talking about,
I
so when you started like getting into relationships or something, how do you identify yourself? And I'm asking you to think back a little bit too, because we're trying to go back and move forward.
I agree because I never had a solid feeling until I was 40. Like I didn't feel like I was worthy until I was 40 years old. Like I had gone through all the motherhood and, relationship, broken
M-
relationship.
Motherhood didn't make you, the motherhood, what was that like when you first, like, when, like, say, how many children have you had?
I only had one and done.
Okay, so you had one. So what was it like, say, when, emotionally or just
Oh,
anything, what you felt
yeah,
like when you first got,
the
like,
best thing I've ever done in my life, the most, like amazing thing. And
uh-huh.
I didn't want to do anything else. So, of course, you don't care about anything else but raising that baby and taking care of that baby. And people don't get it; they don't understand it, and so, but unless they are a mother, and it's just a different, totally, it's a whole different thing. And you don't ever lose that. You grow and you change over the years, and you let them
So,
grow up and change. But
right, but did you automatically assume the role of like
absolutely,
nurturing,
absolutely,
like, and
absolutely.
trying, Okay, and what about like I mean, because not every women are the same. Like we have some women that decide, oh, well, let's go into the abortion issue for a minute. And like, have you ever had an abortion?
Absolutely not. But um, the only thing I have to say about that, and Don knows where I am on this, it's like if you ever watched the movie Cider House Rules, and going back to the days, I would rather have it medically safe
Right.
than not. I mean,
I
that's it.
I know that's a really touchy subject, and a lot of people are going to disagree on that a lot. And I don't mean to really take it into that. But what I was trying to get at is sort of like, all right, how I'm trying to wonder, like, if anybody out there that may be listening may have had an abortion, and what does that do to a woman mentally? Do they have?
Mm, well, I can speak on it because I've had friends, and it does mess with you. I mean, it does, and there's a lot of grief. It's almost the same or more. It's worse than if you had a miscarriage, because a miscarriage you can't help. An abortion you control. But at
Right.
the same time, was that baby meant to be? I mean, it's
Yeah, and miscarriages and everything can be, and any of that, I would suppose, is a very, see, that's very traumatic. And men are not going to be able to feel those same
exactly.
things that a woman does, so,
Exactly. And so that's why a man can never be a woman, because he's never had a period. He's never had an abortion. He's never had a miscarriage. He's never had a
hmm
baby. So goodbye. You can go ahead and cut your penis off all you want to, but you're never going to be a woman. And
right, right.
a woman's never going to be a man. As much as she wants to, she can cut her boobies off. She can put a penis on, do whatever. Never going to be the same.
No,
Never. Ever going to be the same. And you do, if that's what you want to do. I
right.
don't, I don't understand it. But
Well, I was gonna ask if there was any, if if we had any women that goes through, um, a miscarriage, how they, like I said, a man wouldn't know what a woman goes through inside traumatically, like say in a miscarriage and they lose a child, what it does to them, and how does that affect them, and what are they going through at that stage in time. Um, like I said, you can't if you're not experienced something like that, then a man cannot possibly understand.
nope, nope. I mean, I thought I had one, and it was horrible, and it was horrible, and I don't know. I mean, I was young. I didn't know if it was actually happening. It was like I was 21, had just gotten married. I didn't know if it was or it wasn't, because I was too dumb,
They,
and I was not about to go to the doctor, because I was on my honeymoon basically. But
hmm,
nope, no, no, no. Nobody can describe it. I've talked to many, many people who've had them, and
and
everybody's
Kathy is on there, and she said it was devastating.
it's terrible.
Yeah, and I've met a few people, and even I had a daughter that had one, and so trying to understand that is like um it's very traumatic. But I can't I can only assume, and then again I don't want to get to the part where I'm assuming things that as a man, I couldn't feel that. I don't know. Is there an emptiness in you? Is there? I mean, it's a loss. So women obviously can go through a lot of different other emotional things that a man can't. So when we're talking about men trying to be women, there's some of those things that they can't really truly understand what it's like to be a
Well, they
woman.
can't. And that's the funny part, is like I said, when I talk to my friend, he's just looking at me and he goes, I don't even want to even think about being a woman.
Well, what about the other side of the coin? What about women thinking they can be a man?
Exactly, that's what I said, and that's we talked about that too. And it's like with my niece, it's like, no, dude, just because you flatten your boobies down does not make you a man. You're just still a little girl with your flat boobies. That's all you are. You're just still a girl. I mean,
Right.
it doesn't
All right.
change. It doesn't change anything. I mean, it really doesn't.
I was trying to read some of the comments there. Kathy's been commenting. Um, okay, I mean, and that's just one aspect of many things that a woman is, can go through that a man can't, no matter if he identifies as a woman. And we got people identifying as women and going through those stages, and as we were talking about, so
But seriously, women get mad about it, kind of, because especially in sport, because
right,
I mean, and that's a whole other subject. But it's just like, seriously, no. I mean, this is I've never ever never even thought about it before, and then all of a sudden it's like, what? You were number whatever in male swimming, and now you're going to come over here and be a girl and be number one? No, go away. You're not.
okay, because I'm not sure if we in the male dominated media, and you can say that, and if we actually get enough of the women's views on that. And I was trying to say, yeah, I was going to try to ask more women that how they felt about that, where men are playing in female sports. What's Don say?
No, he was just talking. A neighbor walked out and he was talking to her because we have our cat outside. Here's how weird we are. We have a cat on a leash.
Hey, I used to have a hog on a leash, so it's okay. And I thought your neighbor left when he found out Don was shaving his leg.
Maybe. No, seriously, to be, I mean, honestly, that, the whole thing with having men come over and say, oh, I'm going to be a girl today so I can, grow. I go down the street every day and I look at them like, I don't even know if it's male, female, and we laugh because nobody, and
I can usually tell for the most part, but it's getting harder every day.
It's getting harder every day.
Plastic surgery and stuff.
With and you don't and we're being trained all the time at work. You can't say, thank you, ma'am, thank you, sir, how can I help you? Because you don't know if you're talking to a ma'am or sir, and
Right.
you don't identify that way, and you have to say thank you and leave it at that. But I'm from the day where it was respectful to say ma'am and sir. I mean,
yes,
it's just
yes, me too,
Mr. and Mrs. But we, so do we sit here and we scream and yell from the trenches and say, no, this is wrong? Or do we say, we don't have to accept it and call it our normal? Or do we say, okay, this is the next generation. Do we like it? Maybe not. But are we going to have to live in it? No, we're going to die. We're old. We don't have to put up with it for very much longer. And then that's on their plate. They have to decide how they're going to run the country. They're going to have to decide how they're going to do things. If it's right, wrong, or indifferent, or however you view it. But are you going to sit here and be hateful and hate people because they're different? I'm not.
No, I'm not neither. I'm not trying to hate on nobody. I'm trying to understand, and that's why I'm having these videos the way I am, and trying to understand things, and so all of us can maybe try to communicate a little bit better to find out what other people are thinking, and try to understand why.
Hey, Billy,
So,
I've got a thought.
where you guys from right now? Where you live at right now?
Bellevue, Kentucky.
1 mile from Cincy.
1 mile from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay, okay. I go through there quite a bit when I'm driving.
Well,
So,
we need to make a point of stopping and having dinner.
well, thank you. Thank you. But Don might freak me out a little bit. I can't get over him shaving his legs.
But my question is, do you think it could be a mental illness?
Good question. Good question. And um, well, here's one of the things that I kind of attribute to is that, yeah, I think it is. I think it is possible that we have something in. Obviously, God makes us a certain way, and we talk about this, and up to this point, it's been pretty obvious, and we've talked about how sometimes plants. And I kind of have started coming, and this is my personal opinion, and people might not understand that. Um, but I think life in itself goes through a lot of stages, and it does so for a reason. Everything has, I mean, if we put too much pollution in the air, or we might talk about global warming. Everything is made and pre-designed. God has made everything to where it has a way. That's the reason we have hurricanes. The hurricanes are designed to cool off things. Okay, if it gets too hot. And I think it might be happening in the human world as well, where maybe if we're reaching overpopulation,
Well,
there's abnormalities in everything,
yeah,
and everything is not, and it's for a reason, I think.
I
So
agree with
I don't.
you. Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, I was just going to say, I mean, like we just went through COVID. Whether you were political about COVID or not, I was in the medical and I had people die from it. My sister died from it. A very good friend of mine died from it. Don's friend died from it. So you can call it what you want. It was very political. It was. I'm not going to deny that. Based on, everybody needs to get vaccinated, blah, 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 blah. Didn't work. I got it. I after 3 vaccines. But my whole point of that is in the medical profession, you have to look at things a little bit differently because you're going to deal with people, and the whole thing is that, yeah, we are evolving, things are changing. And yeah, and I agree with you. I think some things were invented to thin the herd because, I mean, look, China, they, hey, you can only kill, how many babies can you have? No, you can't have that many babies. Going to kill this many, whatever they do. But my point of it is that it's population control. And I agree with you 100% on that. And at some point, these people who think they're men and people think they're women, they get to go through all that. They can't reproduce. And here we are.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was kind of was alluding to. Maybe it is a natural cycle of life that
Right.
this is happening at the scale that it is because it is. I mean, it's sort of like when you brought up like where we talk about herd immunity, So it's sort of like the body. It was, and you could take it with women. I don't know, they say like menstrual cycles. If you take women and you put them in the same household and they live together for a certain amount of time,
We all did.
that the more dominant woman, all the other women that's in the household. Now I've heard this, and I'm not a woman, so I don't know. But the dominant woman, the menstrual cycles will naturally coincide. Do you think that's true?
Absolutely. Lived it. I know for a fact that it's truth. I mean, I lived in a house
So,
with 4 women, so yes.
so I think it's reasonable if we're going to talk about things like this, is that maybe it is designed that way, you know. So when someone's like that, that's the reason why we shouldn't be judgmental, and we shouldn't be. I mean, when you go around just casting people out. I mean, is it something to that, to where why people are feeling that way? And I try to be fair on both sides. If you notice, I'm not trying to bash on one side or take another side. I try to take the middle ground in any issue and I try to go as deep as I can on both sides to try to understand, so I can get some kind of middle ground, to an analysis of a, some kind of basic concept of what's going on. So as a woman, when you go through this, and now we went through your puberty and we went through your teenager years, and kissing, and you said you started liking boys at 5, and so we get to the point. So now when a woman gets to a certain age and she has a child and she goes through all that, and that nurturing part, and I think some women are already a nurturing nature before they even have a child. I'm assuming, again,
Yeah.
it helps to have women's input on this. And so does that grow stronger and stronger, do you
Yeah,
think?
it does. And you can ask Don. I'm like all about caring and giving and nurturing, and that's my life. That's what I do. And I always have been and always will be. And and that's just it's how I roll.
Well, and we have some women, and this is where I'd like a difference of opinion. So since they're not here to speak, but knowing the characters of some women are more domineering and dominating, or they don't have, for whatever reasons, and I'm not sure. I would like to talk to them more about that. But some women they're more independent. They don't care about relationships, or being in that nurturing situation. At least that's what they appear to show on the outside. And so I wonder about that sometimes. And we're all people, and so we're all different. I get that. But for the basic general knowledge, I always looked at it as a woman, and correct me if I'm wrong, that a woman was someone who was the nurturer of the house, of the family. um and I see I lost you, but that's okay. um and a woman was the one that kept the family together. She's the one that sacrificed, that made sure the kids got up in the morning, made sure they were fed, got them off to school. A woman was the one that really, and essentially, was the backbone of of the family, you unit, and kept the marriage together. Was the one that took care of her man and did all the things, all these responsibilities that and it never stopped. So a woman's job is like, I mean, I'm not sure why a man would want to be a woman, actually. I mean, I couldn't imagine um, wanting to take on that, everything from childbirth, going through the periods and menopause, and the whole 9 yards, and going. I mean, so I give an applause to all the women out there for who they are and what they do, and for to have a man come along and want to pretend like they're that person. And I don't. I'm not sure that they really understand what it would be like to be a woman. I mean, that part of it anyway. I don't think that they understand. I just don't think it's even possible for them to be, and I could be wrong. I mean, I could be wrong. I would like to talk to somebody on that subject too, that was going through there, and we're going to have these episodes, and I'm sure this is a subject that we'll come back to. But and we don't have no other women that maybe could kind of want to share their experiences that are brave enough to come on the live video. So maybe that's not something that women are comfortable doing with either, for whatever reasons. They got their little self-protection box, and I want to say thank you, Janet, for coming on the way you and Don did to elaborate. So I appreciate that a lot, and for us to try to understand some things about, about women and about ourselves in general. So I want to see if there's any comments. If you guys have any comments that you would like to put on there, I'll read them. And if not, I don't want to go on with the subject as me being the expert on this subject, because I'm not. Yeah, okay, Don, I see that you can hear us, and I appreciate again you guys being on. I'm gonna go back and look at some of the comments there, but yeah, Brenda said when she was 13, she was out let a boy to walk me home from church. I wanted a good night, and then I was told don't. Which is more nervous to me. Yeah, and that is true. As far as like what she was talking about, Brenda, yeah. I mean, when we're talking about a male female thing, I don't think women understand as well that, you know, if you think it's all one-sided on the woman's side when it comes to the relationships, I'm sure that most males are very much, you know, um, nervous as well. And the biggest thing I think that males are nervous about are probably rejection or acceptance, and so that can go anywhere. If nobody else wants to come on, I'm going to give it a few more minutes to see if anybody else wants to come on the live video, because I'm not going to carry on a conversation too much by myself on this subject. Um, and but I know that women go through a lot, as I was saying, and then and there are other women that I know that for self-esteem purposes, ev- everybody finds their own way in acceptance, I guess. And some women are derived and go in a direction that they are in. Some become bitter. But, that could be a human thing, not just a woman thing. So I think what we got to is what is a woman is pretty much, you know, identified at birth. If there is a mental disease along the way, I'm not sure if we want to classify it as a mental disease. I'm not sure. It would be the same way as why is people maybe what causes a person to be uh, gay or lesbian in that sense, or both ways. There's so many different things that's going on there. But I think on a physical side that we all can agree that well, maybe not we all can agree, but in today's world that you're identified at birth, and and by the body parts that are given to you at birth. And unfortunately, we have some medical professionals now that I've been listening to that are starting to disagree with that. And it's like you put male, you're identified with a gender at birth, either male or female. And we're starting to have some medical professionals that today are starting to disagree with that and saying, well, just because he was born with a penis doesn't make him a male. And I'm like, you know, to me that just really, I'm trying to wrap my mind around that, and it's not. I'm not. I guess I'm not that intelligent yet to understand that part of why they're doing that, and why they are prescribing children drugs to prevent them from going into puberty because of this. I, I find that malpractice. I find that child abuse. If you can consider anything as child, I don't even know how we are allowing that. Um, I mean, and what kind of, I mean, and we're sending our children to school, and we're turning our children over to the government, and our children are spending more time with the government than they are with the parents. So therefore, the government is having more of an influence on, on our children. Now we can say government in a broad range, but as I explained earlier, the schools are run by the government. The schools are the government. Now, not every school is the same, but it's still the government. It's still run by the government. And so parents, I think, should be more in tune with what their children are learning at school, uh, and spend more time with their children, be more adapt. I guarantee you, most of you parents, and I ain't saying all, but I guarantee you that a lot of you parents are not really um, know what your child's doing at school. And I'm going to say there's a lot. I almost wish that I almost wish in this age of technology that we went ahead and put cameras in the school so that a parent can see their child in school and hear the class discussion so we can watch our child in the class. Now, I'm not saying open it up to all the public. I'm saying has, um, if your child is in that class, then you should have the right. I mean, because we've had it before where parents could go in and sit in class, you know, but that's kind of embarrassing to the child to have your mom or dad sitting there in the class with other students. So in this age of technology, I'm not sure why we don't have cameras in the school where a parent can have a username and a password and log in. That way the teacher is being held accountable for what they are saying in class, and the parent can see that, and they can do their due objections, you know, and whether many parents would use that, I don't know. I know I would. I would be more in tune to send my child to public education and to the government if I was being able to see what they were being taught, you know, or have everything just like, you know, so that you can observe and you can make the adjustments that a parent needs to make for their children. Because when they get into the subject of where they're trying to teach kids that maybe Joe is actually Josephine or vice versa, I wouldn't want my child being subjected to that personally. So, and one more last time, if we have any women that want to make any input, want to come on the video, we will give that window just a few more minutes to see if there's any women that would like to come on and talk about this or any subjects of what it's like to be a woman and the things they go through. But if not, I'm not going to sit here and try to presume that I'm a woman. I'm not identifying as a woman, so it would be kind of hard for me to presume that as a man. So, but I'm just trying to find out why we've got to the point where somebody like Anheuser-Busch sponsors, puts money into someone who is promoting that on social media. Who and they're paying the price. Anheuser-Busch is paying a heavy price, and from what I understand, all those people that were in that decision, marketing-wise, has been removed or fired or contracts terminated. I think Anheuser-Busch is very, I think right now they're pretty upset about it, the whole situation themselves, and rightfully so, because they're a corporation now that's lost billions of dollars. Last count I seen was like $5 billion, and now we see the memes that's going around where, you know, Bud Light is at Walmart, and it's just like, please take, you know, they have lost tremendously financially on this issue, which goes to say that boycotting, and how many people do feel this way, has gotten to the point where enough people have said, well, okay, we've had enough of this, and you know, so, and I want everybody to understand that I haven't been trying to beat anybody up. So my last look at the comments, and then we'll air off of this thing. And I appreciate everybody coming in, and I want you to have a good night. And tomorrow night at 6:30 again, we'll have another subject that's going on, and we're going to be talking about you know, we're going to be talking about depression and suicide, but there's a lot of people that go through a lot of depression, and I think it's a subject that's worth talking about, how to identify depression, and how to help those in depression, what you can do and what you can't do. And so tomorrow, 6:30, like we'll be doing every day, a live Facebook feed, and we'll have different subjects every different night. Sometimes we'll come back and touch other, you know, subjects that we've already covered, but tomorrow it will be about depression. I hope you join in and watch us and be part of the discussion. And as always, if anybody wants to come in on the live video feed, I can have up to 4 screens. I can put people on, and we can have, like we did, I think last night we ended up with 4 different screens. So, and tonight we only had 2 different screens. So, and I appreciate those that participated again and watched, and we'll see you tomorrow, and have a great night, guys.